All right. We got everybody trickling in, moving on up in the world. Sweet. All right. Class of 2029 and families, hello. Good evening. It is so good to be with you all this evening. My name is Justin Barker. I'm one of the associate directors in new student and family programs. Y'all, we are 11 days out from this thing, 11 days out of one of the most important days of your life. I want y'all to just sit in that moment this evening before we get cranked up and get started. Congratulations. We're super excited, super pumped for you all. And we have a great evening scheduled for you this evening. So let's go on to the next slide. And let me tell y'all what we're going to be doing this evening. So, as always, I know y'all have been doing this all summer, students and families, but for our Zoom features, throughout the presentation, feel free to ask any Q&As at the bottom because the chat is disabled. We have some team in the background that will be answering those questions, but we will also have a Q&A portion live at the end of our presentation. So what the heck are we talking about this evening? Let's go to that next slide. This is all things move-in day and orientation. So for tonight's agenda, we're going to tackle logistics of move-in. What do you need to do before you arrive, when you arrive, and then what is next after that. We're going to go through the entire move-in day schedule of events. So that includes dinner on the quad, your jersey distribution, and our family farewell that happens at the end of the move-in day experience. And then after that, we will dive deep into all things experiential orientation and beyond to get you started for classes. So, my friends, without further ado, let's get this party started. Buckle up, get those notepads ready for all those questions, and I'm going to turn it right on over to Ben.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. Great to see you all. Thanks so much again for being here. We're thrilled to have you with us tonight. My name is Ben Adams, and I have the privilege of serving as the Senior Associate Dean of Students for QuadX. QuadX is our living and learning model. You probably learned a little bit about it over the course of your research of choosing Duke, but really it's just the simple way of describing it is it is our operating system for how we deliver the undergraduate experience. Tonight, I want to give you a quick overview of what to expect for the move-in process. A lot of this is in your information that we've sent out to you over the past few weeks or so. And you'll also be able to download this video, look at this video after we post it back online. So feel free to sit back, write this down if you must, but we can certainly give you this information at a later date, or you can take the video and record it there. So we're going to walk through the move-in day schedule and everything that you need to know. First thing that you need to know is that the picture is misleading. It does not snow in August. It will not snow in August. And so this is a picture from move-in day in January, but unfortunately, in North Carolina, if you're unfamiliar with the South this time of year, it will probably be the hottest day of the year. You can just bound that that's going to happen. And so come prepared to be a little bit hot over the course of the day. The move-in day schedule is really divided into just 5 major chunks, and this will be posted online. You will see this posted all around campus. We'll have QR codes with this. You'll also have it again in a lot of your information that's available in your email. In the first part of the day, we devote ourselves to unloading you and your students' cars and belongings. So from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. is really our big operation move-in. Everyone has been signed a move-in time, and we're going to talk about those move-in times and what to expect. But 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. is really going to be the time where we unload your car. Later on in the evening, we're going to give you time to relax and just hang out with your family. Dinner on the quad is our big celebration of really kind of everything Duke Dining. Duke Dining does a wonderful job of providing meals for everyone. That's located on West Campus. You've got about 2.5 to 3 hours to eat and to make yourself at home. Then we have class jersey distribution, which is where our friends over in athletics graciously purchase for every single incoming student a customized jersey. It's got Duke 2020 or 29, and then on the back it has your last name. That's a gift from our friends over in Duke Athletics, and it's a great way for you to kind of get into the Cameron crazy spirit. The family farewell, which is our celebration of the class of 2029, it takes place in Cameron Indoor Stadium. That will begin at 7 p.m. And that is really where you truly say goodbye between families and students. Students go one direction, families go a different direction before you enter Cameron. And that's where you say farewell. And then we'll go to the evening events, which are families will stay in Cameron for a family reception, and students will go to their floor meetings later that evening, and they'll head back to East Campus. So let's dive into some of the nuts and bolts and logistics of this whole thing. So, first of all, your move-in windows were given to you in an email that you received from us earlier, maybe a couple of weeks ago. Every dorm has been assigned a move-in window. Those move-in windows are assigned based on traffic flow of East Campus. You'll find that East Campus has very few roads in and out. The traffic goes in different directions, and on move-in day, it's the one day that we make special accommodations for the traffic to go in different traffic patterns. But you must come in during that move-in window. The 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. time is assigned to Southgate, Trinity, Blackwell, and Wilson. The move-in time, move-in 2, which is 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., is assigned to Gilbert Adams, Bell Tower, Pegram, Giles, and Bassett. And then the move-in window 3 from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. is Brown, Randolph, West House, and Allspa. Unfortunately, East Campus, again, just can't accommodate all of the traffic, and so we do ask that you come in during that window. If you come in before the window, unfortunately, we won't be able to allow you on East Campus. You have all received an East Campus parking placard that has your residence hall, the time of day that you must come in, and traffic will be blocked off to all folks unless you are one of those dorms moving in during that time. If you come in after, it's going to be a similar situation. So again, we do ask that you plan to arrive to campus and that cars can enter only during that move-in window. So what happens when you get there and when you get onto campus? Or actually, let me just give you a little bit of a pro tip before you even get here. It's probably wise for you to plan and go ahead and make preparations for that day. A lot of you have made travel preparations already. A lot of you are planning to come in, spend the night before so that you're ready to go that morning. Whatever's totally fine. But let me give you a little tip for how we do kind of the check-in process. Before you arrive, the tips for you, make sure that you confirm all your immunizations. That's something that's on your Duke checklist. You should know that by this point. That's a critical part. There's actually a legal component to that, which is the state of North Carolina requires these immunizations to be completed within a month of being on campus. And so otherwise it can result in an unenrollment. It's a state mandate for us. Our experiential orientation waivers, all of us are going into experiential orientation projects, and the waivers allow us to just acknowledge that you're going to be here, that you're going to be going on and off campus. Again, it's just kind of a waiver saying that you're okay with being able to kind of move about Durham. Modules, we have 3 modules that are offered. The one that I want to flag for you is called Perspectives. Perspectives is a model that really prepares you to engage with a host of ideas from people with different backgrounds, different beliefs, ideologies. It really is based on constructive dialogue and how we do that here at Duke. That module, you should have received a reminder to complete that. Please complete that in advance. And then lastly, your Duke card photo. That's another part where you can go ahead and upload that photo. Your Duke card will be a mobile card and it will be available on your device, but that is essentially your entry point into everything Duke, with the exception of your room key. The other thing to be prepared is all of this information that we're sending to you, I would print it out in advance. I would make sure that you've got that, that you're ready to go, and that you've printed out your move-in date information, the maps, the parking pass. The last thing that would be a recommended tip would be label all of your bags and boxes with your name and your room number. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of student volunteers who are helping you move. They don't know you personally just yet. They will by a week from now, or a week from the time that you arrive. But they don't know you just yet, and they're not positive where you live. So just making sure that you label that will ensure that we get your stuff to the right place. So when you arrive onto campus, you will arrive during your move-in window, as we shared, and you're going to stay in your vehicle until you are directly in front of your residence hall. Your residence hall will have a whole host of student volunteers, of staff volunteers that are ready to cheer you on, welcome you, and to unpack your car for you. Our hope is that you don't touch a box. Obviously, there's some things that you might want to carry on your own. If it's particularly fragile or valuable to you, we're not going to force you to hand things over to us. But our job is just to simply make your life easier when you arrive at Duke. And so our student volunteers will grab your refrigerators, grab your luggage, whatever it is, and help escort it up to your room. That's another reason, again, why you got to make sure that stuff is labeled, because they'll try to put it in your dorm room immediately so that it stays out of the hallway. The volunteers include a number of students, include a number of senior administrators, faculty. You will see President Price out there. You may see our basketball team out there. You'll see a whole host of people that are here to greet you and welcome you and to make sure that you feel at home from the very second that you arrive. As students are unloading your cars, parents and families, I just wanted to remind you of this key rule is that we need one of you to stay at the car at all times. Because traffic is so limited and it's single file traffic, it is a log jam. If a family moves away from the vehicle, no other vehicles can move forward at all. So we ask that one of you stay put with the car at all times so that we can keep traffic moving through. When you get up to your residence hall room, you'll find that your dorm room is unlocked when you arrive. You can go up there. We'll put your stuff in your room. You can begin to unpack it as soon as you'd like. And then if you'd leave and if you'd like to lock it because you don't have your room key just yet, you can certainly ask one of the RAs to lock it behind you to make sure that your valuables are safe. But there will be so many people moving around and so much going on that we trust that the doors, if you just shut them, that everything should be fine. So what's next? What happens after you unload your car? Again, you're going to come through. We're going to unload your car. Two things are going to happen. One is your car or whatever vehicle that you are in must immediately leave East Campus. And if your car is going to be on campus, we're going to ask you to park it in the Science Drive garage. This Science Drive garage, you have a map and you have directions to the Science Drive garage. It's located on West Campus. There are two campuses at Duke, East and West. You're living on East, but Science Drive will be on West Campus. The family member, person, whoever it might be, will drop off the car and they'll take a shuttle, a bus system that we have, back to East Campus. Families, you're going to leave that Science Drive, you're going to leave that car there at Science Drive Garage pretty much all day. The good news is that the evening ends directly beside Science Drive Garage, so your car is going to be waiting for you when things wrap up at the family farewell. So you'll move your car to the Science Drive Garage and bus back to East. As one family member is doing that, or as one loved one is doing that, the student is going to need to go to Brody Gym. Brody Gym is our East Campus rec facility that's located on East, and it's there that you're going to do several things. You're going to check in to Brody Gym, and that's really where you're going to get your room keys and a host of things, and I'll tackle that in just a second. If there's another family member that's there, if there's kind of two parents, or if there's a parent and a sibling, or whatever it may be, whatever combination, the family member can stay back in the residence hall if there's another one. They don't have to go to Brody Gym. In fact, we encourage you to. It helps to keep the traffic moving through Brody as well. So what's in Brody? When you get into Brody Gym, there's going to be essentially 5 stops for you to go through, 6 stops for you to go through while you're there. First is Do Well. Do Well is our wellness unit, wellness promotion unit. They'll be there to greet you, offer you a gift on behalf of Do Well, and they'll also be able to offer you a bag that allows you to carry some of your stuff. Residence Life is where you'll get your housing keys, and so that is legitimately where you get your physical key. For those of you who will have physical keys, there are a few residence halls who have remote access and they use their phones to tap in or a key card to swipe in, and that's going to be a different system altogether. But you will go to your to Residence Life to check in there, get your HRL key. Duke Card is going to be on site. Duke Card, as I said before, is your mobile access to pretty much everything at Duke. It's where your meal points are. It's how you pay for things on campus when it comes to meals, when it comes to checking in at particular events. It's your tickets to athletic events. That's your Duke Card. It's on your mobile device. Duke Card will be on hand just to make sure that it's working and that you're good to go. They'll also be there to provide for you a voter ID card. This voter ID card does not have any access to residence halls or anything else. It is just simply a physical ID so that if you choose to register to vote in North Carolina, you have proof that you are a student here at Duke University. Mailbox keys will also be there. So all of our students will get a mailbox locker essentially on West Campus, and that's where campus mail will be to hand you keys. I'll come back to the other part of campus mail in just a second. And then OIT will be there for us to allow you to check in and to have any of your tech questions answered. And if you're part of our Duke Life program, they will have your laptops there. The last thing, which is really the reason why every single student needs to come through Brody Gym, is that we need you to check in experiential orientation. Experiential orientation is our orientation model, and that's really the place where we check to see that every student is present and accounted for. And so we want to make sure that you've checked in, that you've gotten your waiver signed, and that you're ready to go. It's also where you'll get your first piece of merch. That's a gift from your experiential orientation project. It's so important that you go through Brody immediately because that really is just unlocking your Duke experience and checking you in. But Brody will remain open until 3:30 p.m. that day to allow for folks that are in that last move-in window plenty of time to get over there and to check in. Moving on, I mentioned campus mail just a second ago. We are light years ahead of where we were about 5 years ago. And so 5 years ago, it was the case that when you sent stuff to Duke, you had to go all the way over to West Campus, again, which is a bus ride away to pick up your stuff at the mailboxes there. And you'd have to ride a bus back to East Campus with your refrigerator or whatever it is that you order that's being shipped in via Amazon, whatever it is. We've made strides, and our partners in Campus Mail have worked all summer long to make sure that this is the case, that you have the things that you've shipped to us. Campus Mail, there are going to be 5 pickup locations across East Campus. And it's really a pickup location assigned by dorm room. If you are in Bell Tower or Trinity, you can pick up your mail, campus mail, at Bell Tower Commons. There will be somebody that's going to scan your mail to make sure that you have that and that you've got everything that you ordered, and if it arrived on time. Southgate and GA is Gilbert Adams. We say GA a lot, so just a heads up, that's Gilbert Adams. Southgate and GA, those are located in GA Commons. Blackwell and Randolph, if you're in one of those 2 residence halls and you've mailed stuff, Blackwell Commons will host the mail pickup. Brown, Bassett, and Wilson are all located in Wilson Commons. And Giles, Allspa, if you've been wondering how to pronounce that word, it's Allspa. Giles, Allspa, Pegram, and Westhouse, those will all be picked up in Giles. We'll have people pointing you in the right direction throughout the day. So if you don't probably even know your own residence hall, needless to say, you're not going to be able to find one that's not yours. We're going to have plenty of people to help you and point you in the right direction. One pro tip for you is that you need to pick up your mail by 4 p.m. Our volunteers who are over there at Campus Mail, who are kind of helping you get settled, if you haven't picked it up by 4 p.m., they're going to take all of that mail and they're going to move it back over to the West Campus Mail Center because we have to open up those commons rooms and we can't keep mail tucked away behind that. Final note just down there at the bottom. Your packages need to arrive to campus by August 8th. That is Friday. So our recommendation is at this point, if you haven't shipped things, you might as well just hang on to it, or you could just wait to order it once you get here, which is actually my number one piece of advice for everyone. Underpack and order it later because a lot of students go home at fall break with a lot of stuff that they probably didn't even need or touch during their first 2 months. When you move onto campus, Duke has a major campus climate initiative here, and we also are very much committed to environment and sustainability. And so we have located all across East Campus a whole host of recycling areas. You're going to see these large recycling areas throughout East as you pull up. I guarantee you won't miss them. You can ask anybody and they'll just tell you where the nearest one is. But we have a whole host of them across campus. We ask that you take all of your cardboard immediately to these corrals. The tricky thing is I know it's tempting to just unpack something and then put the cardboard box in the hallway, but there are so many people moving through those hallways that keep it in your residence hall room until you're ready to unload all of it to one of these units. It helps to keep traffic going. It complies with our fire marshal and to make sure that the hallways are clear. So we just ask that you dispose of your cardboard as soon as possible. And then lastly, before I pass it off to my colleague, what else is on campus during that day? Duke Dining will be open. We're obviously going to feed you that night. That is a treat on us. The dinner on quad is something that you don't have to worry about. It's covered. But Marketplace, which is our East Campus dining hall, and Trinity Cafe, which is located just below. It's kind of our coffee shop on East Campus. Both of those will be open during the day if you need to go grab a quick bite to eat or an extra cup of coffee or whatever it may be. Those are located in the Wall Center. And then we also have a hospitality tent where there will be hospitality there, just a few snacks and refreshments. People can answer your questions, any Q&A that you might have. Duke Libraries will be there. Laundrymen, which is an off-campus service. If you want to sign a contract to have your laundry laundered for you, they deliver it. Emergency services will be there, and banks will be there. Lastly, if you're someone who's catching up on your immunizations, Penn Pavilion, which is located on West Campus, is the host of our student health immunization clinic, and they'll be open on move-in day from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. if you so choose to take advantage of that. That is a lot of the logistics. Oh, one more thing to note: parking and transportation. Apologize, that's not my last slide. Parking and transportation. Duke is a complicated place to get around. We have made it as simple as we possibly can on move-in day. We've said to you before that your main parking place is Science Drive Garage, SDG. That's where you're going to park throughout the day. There are 3 major bus routes that you're going to essentially take during the day. One is going to be the Science Drive to East Campus shuttle, and that will run from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. So families, as you drop off the car, look for that Science Drive Garage East Campus shuttle, and that will loop you back to East so that you can get back to your child and help them unpack as quickly as possible. The C1 bus route, which is our regular bus route that runs all year long, will operate from East Campus to West Campus throughout the day so that you can easily access that. And then for a short, limited period of time, as families are trying to make their way to the dinner on the quad, the Science Drive Garage bus, there will be an extra route that runs that takes you directly from Science Drive Garage to the West Campus bus stop, which is where the dinner on the quad is available. So there's really 3 there. Again, all of that information is posted online, and it will also be on A-frames and signage throughout campus throughout the day. As you are thinking about, going out and maybe running an additional errand to Target or to wherever it might be to pick up some extra stuff, even if it's like the grocery store for some basic hygiene or snacks or whatever it might be, just note the East Campus. We will open up East Campus to the regular traffic flow starting at 3:30 p.m. on move-in day. That allows for everybody to have gotten through to unload their cars. It allows us to open up the roads once again and to make sure that families can get through. It also allows for our buses to return to their normal route as well, and even the bus stop to go back to its normal location. My recommendation, just a pro tip here, you want to have your car at Science Drive Garage at the end of the family farewell. So no matter what happens, I would not leave your car on East Campus for the end of the day. Drive over to West if you're going to the family farewell or if you're going to the dinner on the quad. Take the bus, but make sure your car's over in Science Drive Garage because Cameron is where the event ends, and Science Drive Garage is beside Cameron, and we'll have people pointing there. Families, you will not want to take the bus back over to East. We try to get all of our students back over to East Campus immediately, and then they won't be accessible because they'll be in their RA floor meetings that night. So with that, that's enough of the logistics of actual move-in. I'm going to pass it over to my colleague Dalton Dye to talk a little bit about more what's going on during the day, and then we will see you all back for Q&A at the end. Passing to you, Dalton.
Great. Thanks, Ben. There we go. As Ben alluded, my name is Dalton Dye. I'm an associate director here with New Student Family Programs. My slide here is talking a little bit about dinner on the quad. This is our big celebration dinner that wraps up the rest of move-in day. It is the only dining option that will be open on campus. It is all, there's no charge associated with it. You just need to show up and get in line and grab a plate. It'll be taking place between 4 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. on move-in day, located in Able Quad, which is on West Campus. It's the big quad that's right next to the bus stop in front of the chapel. So once you get off the bus, you are right there where all the food is. We have, it's going to be like a picnic style barbecue. There's chicken, barbecue, and then vegetarian, vegan, and kosher options. Each of our options will be labeled so you can eat according to your own dietary needs and accommodations. We will also have Duke dining staff available at the event itself. So look for the people in the purple hats if you have specific questions about what food you can and can't eat, and they'll be able to help figure out what works best for you. We are asking for some seating times. Notice the quotes. Basically, as the same way as that we were asking for move-in traffic to control the flow of traffic, we're also asking for that at dinner for the quad. So we have a couple different blocks within this period. If you were in the early move-in window, we're asking that you come between 4 and 5 p.m. to get your food. There will be tables and chairs available all throughout the quad, but there's not enough tables for all 7,000 people to be there. So we're asking that you stagger in order to help control the flow of traffic and allow everybody the chance to sit. The second window, if you were the 10 to 12 move-in window, we're asking that you eat dinner on the quad between 5 and 6. And if you're the final window, that you're coming between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. This is a great chance for you all to relax and spend some time together. There'll be a ton of people out and about. It really is a fun and festive environment. So we encourage you to make some connections with other families and students who are moving in. We'll have plenty of staff walking around as well. So it is a pretty good vibe there on the quad. Like I said, this is between 4 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. Once dinner on the quad wraps, and I'm kind of steal Justin's thunder a little bit, we are asking you to head to the family farewell. We'll have some volunteers who'll be going through and starting to clean tables, but it is a short walk from the Able Quad to Cameron Indoor, and so it does take a little bit of time for you to get over there and get in and get seated. So when you are eating, if you were there until the very end, and our staff are coming through and asking you to throw some trash away and head on over, that's a great chance for you to do so. Ben alluded to it a little bit earlier as well, but we will have our jersey distribution on Kville Quad, which is right outside Cameron Indoor. So it does flow pretty nicely for you all to get your jerseys on the way in. So I think that's what I have about dinner on the quad. I'm going to turn it over to Justin to talk a little bit about family farewell.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dalton. I am back, friends. So, as Dalton was alluding to, after you finish your dinner on the quad, volunteers and different staff members at Duke, we're going to ask you to make your way to the family farewell. So, essentially, let me set the stage for you all. This is kind of a twofold event, right? The first half of this event is exactly what the title says. It is the family farewell. So, there's that 30-minute window, and essentially, I would say 25-ish minutes, because we would really love for you all to be in your seats right before the program starts in Cameron. But this is the time for you all to get your see you laters kind of out of the way. Again, emotions are real, family. Emotions are real, students. Don't be embarrassed if you tear up a little bit. We all gonna be crying, okay? We all gonna be teared up. It's a happy but joyous occasion. But we're going to be saying our see you laters right outside of Cameron, and then the doors will open at 6:30. Once the doors open and we get ready to start our program, families, you will be seated upstairs in Cameron, and students, you will be in the downstairs area, and I'll tell you how you're going to be seated in Cameron. So you're going to be seated by your quad. So look for your quad flag. And so that is going to help us later on when we get ready to leave Cameron. But during this time, we're going to have a bunch of guest speakers. We're going to get you pumped and excited for what you're about to experience. You are now part of the Duke family, and it is going to be a true Cameron crazy style event. Families, you will be in on the fun yourself. And then once we finish that programming, students, we will start making our way to the buses back to East Campus for your floor meetings. And family members, you will be going upstairs for a lovely family reception that we will have for you all. Or if you don't want to attend the family reception, y'all will have your cars right there at Science Drive Garage, and you can make your way on home. So that's the family farewell. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Yana.
Hi, everyone. I'm Yana Mitzos, Assistant Director for New Student and Family Programs. Next is floor meetings. These are going to happen around 9 p.m. These will be on East Campus, and this is a great opportunity for you to meet the people in your hall, your RA, as well as give you a chance to continue to unpack, and most importantly, get some sleep, because we have a fun-filled week for you. So next I'm gonna pass it on to my colleague Cody.
Thank you, Yana. Hi, everyone. My name is Cody Brandon. I use the he series of pronouns, and I serve as the graduate assistant for the Office of New Student and Family Programs. Experiential Orientation, also known as XO, is going to occur the Sunday after move-in all the way until the Friday before classes begin. It's a time for you to become immersed in the Duke campus and Durham community at large, a time for you to explore, be curious, be adventurous. More importantly, though, a time for you to make Duke your new home. During this week, you will spend time with like-minded peers in your projects, which are groups based on a theme, given a specific cause. You will spend time in small groups, going on excursions with your projects, and have a chance to engage with the entire first year incoming class at large, which we'll discuss in just a moment. By this time, you've heard from your orientation leaders, your project directors, you've had your first Zoom meetings, and even gone over your schedules and projects packs. Please know our students have been working diligently in the entire spring semester to ensure that you have a basic experience during XO alongside us in the Office of NSFP with advisors, but also with faculty and staff and cross-campus community as a project advisor and serve as a subject matter expert for their particular group. We're so excited to have you all on campus for the 4th year of XO. On this next slide here, I'm going to discuss some of those big events that are going to happen throughout the week. On Monday and Wednesday, you're going to have some super cool and fun class socials. Not going to spoil that surprise just yet, but it's going to be so much fun. On Friday, you're going to have your class photo at East Campus Carnival. On Saturday, you're going to have the Welcome Back Bash in front of the iconic Duke Chapel with fireworks, might I add. And lastly, on Sunday, before classes begin, you're going to have new student convocation in Cameron Indoor Stadium. And lastly, you're going to have those ARIA floor meetings that Yana alluded to just a slide ago. That's all for XO. I'm going to pass it over to my friend and colleague, Grace, for academics.
Thanks so much, Cody. Good evening, everyone. My name is Grace Sullivan-Zirkle. I use she, her pronouns. I'm Associate Dean of Students and Director for New Student and Family Programs. At the end of orientation week, when your projects wrap up, we have one last opportunity to make sure that you as a student feel good about starting classes the next week. You'll have plenty of opportunities throughout the week to ask your orientation leaders for advice, to talk to some academic support units. But once orientation ends and your projects end, we just want to give you one last chance to connect and feel really excited about the transition to your academic life here at Duke. So on Friday, 8/22, you are going to have an academic lunch in your first year academic home. So our Pratt students, you're all going to be eating together with Pratt students and faculty. Anyone in Focus is going to have a Focus lunch. And then if you're in a constellation, you're actually going to meet with your individual constellation, all those faculty and students that are a part of that. So we'll continue to send messaging throughout orientation week so you know exactly where to go for those lunches. But we're really excited for you to have an opportunity to start to develop your intellectual community here at Duke as well. And then after that, we have academic preparation sessions. So again, this is if you still have a question, still want to settle something before FDoc first day of classes, this is the opportunity for you. So there will be drop-in advising for urgent things that need to be settled before the first week of classes. To be clear, this is not a time to devise your 4-year plan. You are going to have time to do that later. But if you really need to answer a question before your first week, drop-in advising will be for you. There'll be academic support based in the quads in your houses, also pre-health advising, and then departmental open houses. So things like language or chemistry or math. If you have placement questions still, there are going to be faculty all on East Campus for you to drop in. And then on Sunday before classes start, we have FUR open houses. So these are faculty in residence. Every residence hall on East has a faculty in residence assigned to it. And so an opportunity for you to build, again, that intellectual community literally in your residence hall and connect with faculty that are going to be walking through your first year at Duke with you. And then finally, we love the tagline in New Student and Family Programs that orientation is more than a week. It takes more time than a week to learn campus culture, resources, opportunities. And so we have intentionally designed multiple welcome weeks to help continue to orient you to campus. So these 6 weeks are themed. The first 6 weeks of the semester are themed with the themes that you see right here on the screen. But we help highlight signature events and happenings that are connected to these themes so that you can, a few weeks into the semester, say, you know what? I might be ready for some academic resources. How and where do I find them? We'll have a program just for you to be able to connect directly to the campus resources and campus partners that you need in a timely manner. So again, we'll continue to send you notifications and emails about these series of events. That is a very furious overview of move-in day, which we know is a long, exciting day, and a little more about orientation and what you can expect. We are prepared to answer some questions. Folks, there have been over 100 questions already submitted that this amazing team has already answered, but we're going to try to do some of them live. We may not get to every single question. I'm going to preface that we're going to do our best. We're going to theme some of them and lump some together and see if we can address some common themes that are in here. If we get to the end of this and you say, wait, I still have a question, or I don't think I answered, you don't think you answered it in the way that you need us to answer it, please email us. That's what we're here for. We want to make sure that all of our students and families have the smoothest, best transition to Duke that's possible. So you can email us at studentorientation@duke.edu, and we will get back to you with an answer. But for now, Ben and I are going to tag team some of these questions. Ben, do you want to start? You see one you want to answer?
Yeah, I'm happy to. We're getting a lot of questions about oversized vehicles, RVs, or kind of trailers, like I think U-Haul trailers and things like that. We're going to discourage those from coming on East Campus. The last thing I want to do is create a situation where we have to back up all cars and create an awkward situation for everybody. East Campus is very narrow roads. Again, we have to make special accommodations just for this special day to get the cars going in the right direction. So I'm going to discourage RVs and the oversized vehicles overall. Traffic patterns may, the traffic guard at the entry point may stop you too. If you are a person that does have an RV, if you've already made those arrangements, can I just ask that you reach out directly to us and we can find the additional accommodation, student orientation at duke.edu, and we can talk that through about special accommodation for that vehicle. Cool. That's one. Grace, you
I've
want
got some. Yeah, there are a bunch about campus mail. I'm going to try to put some of them together. Oh, shoot. Okay, so there's a few things that you all need to know, right? We create this special opportunity for mail to get as close to your residence hall as possible on move-in day. Again, that's just open until 4 p.m. on move-in day. We do need students to go pick up their mail themselves. They are going to have to show an ID in order to get mail so that we know we're giving the right package to the right person who has consent to have it. So that's a note for families to know. Your student needs to go pick it up and be prepared to show an ID. There are some questions about campus mail notification. For move-in day, you may not get the notification to your Duke email about your package being here through Duke mail, right? You might get it from your carrier, like your package has arrived. Once we get past move-in day, we then sort of open up into our normal mail operation. There's a really incredible guide online called the Survival Mail Guide to Campus Mail Services that helps explain the regular operation, not what happens on move-in day, but everything that happens after. As you imagine, the number of packages Duke receives has just skyrocketed compared to a few years ago. And so every year we're adapting the services to make it smoother and more accessible for students. But the reality is there are multiple places a package could go. Again, if it arrives after the 8th and goes into our normal mail service. So this guide helps you understand that process. It's just a good guide for students to become acquainted with. But basically, you'll get an email when you have a package on campus, and it will tell you exactly where to go. If possible, it goes into lockers on East Campus. But sometimes, if everyone's getting packages on the same day, those lockers might be full, and so it'll tell you exactly where to go to pick up your package. So if you don't get into the move-in day mail process, you'll get an email that will say where you can go to pick up your package and your mail. Finally, I saw a question also related about cardboard recycling being near the package pickup. Generally, yes, there is cardboard near every building. You'll be able to see one if you sort of walk out of a building. You'll be able to look around and say, oh, there's a cardboard container. So yes, we would highly encourage, if you can consolidate some of those boxes and not take all those boxes into the building, great. Pick up your packages, consolidate, recycle some of that cardboard, and then you can walk into the building.
Seeing some questions here, Grace, about the move-in windows just in general, and kind of repeating some of that information about move-in windows. So move-in windows are limited to just that window. Yes, you can be on East Campus, but your residence hall will not be open prior to your move-in window. Rationale for that is that the RAs that staff your student's residence hall are helping another residence hall move in. So there's no staff there to support you. There's no people to unload your dorms. The dorms will be locked until then. So they'll be locked until that hour, or those few minutes just before those 2 hours begin. So we ask you to stay off. Same thing goes for Brody Gym. You can't check into Brody Gym early because there will be other residence halls that are checking in front of you at that time, and they have to shift out all of the keys during those respective move-in windows. So we ask you to aim for those 2 move-in windows respectfully. I'm seeing some questions about parking placards. So what I'm going to ask in just a second, Grace, I'm going to mute my screen, go find the parking placard, pull it back up so that people can know what we're talking about. So if you'll take another question, I'll come back on in 2 seconds, okay?
Absolutely. I love technology. I will note we've had a few families asking about where's the parking placard. Just to be really clear, it went directly to students' emails. So it's up to you, families, if you're listening, to connect with your student and make sure that you have that parking placard ready for move-in day. There's questions about the student parking lot. So if you are a student that is coming and you have a parking pass for the year, and again, I just want to be clear, a lot of students don't bring a car. You don't need a car. But if you are bringing one and you have a parking pass already, you can go straight to you can drop that car. If it's not bringing all your belongings, you can drop it in your student lot. It is just adjacent to East Campus. It's easily accessible, but the beauty of move-in day is that you also can use that lot on this day because it's not in the middle of campus. It's not going to log traffic from getting into these drop-off locations. Yeah. I'm scanning while Ben's doing this. I'm trying to look back. Can we check in at Brody Gym past our move-in window? Yes, great question. I know there's some folks that can't come during their window, but they can come after. Just remember that East Campus will open up around 3:30 p.m. So if you're trying to arrive after your window and drive onto campus, you need to wait until 3:30. But if let's say you're the 8 to 10 a.m. window and you don't need to drive on, but you just need to come pick up your key or other information from Brody, you can always come after your move-in window to Brody. Before your window, Brody won't be set up. Our amazing colleagues in housing assignments and residence life, who are also behind the scenes typing furiously, are again issuing keys for 1,700 students on that day, and so they're working furiously to make sure that they're prepared for everyone. So again, you can come to Brody after your move-in window, but we ask you not to come before your move-in window.
Awesome. Grace, I think this is sharing now. Can you see it?
Yes, I can.
So this is the image of the parking placard that was sent to your student's mailing address, email address. Make sure that you have this printed out in advance so that you can see exactly what it looks like. You'll see that it says AllSpa. I use that specifically because nobody knows how to pronounce it, AllSpa. That's from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. It shows you the exact window of time on Saturday, August 16th. It tells you where the location is so you can punch that into your GPS if you'd like. I saw a question earlier about GPS locations and where exactly to put that. You should be able to put that intersection. There's going to be a giant purple flag for entrance 1. That PM1, just for you to understand what it stands for, PM means afternoon and 1 is entry point 1. That's just kind of code for us to make sure that we know that families are all circling through that piece. The biggest piece of advice would be to print this off well in advance. Don't trust the printer at the local Marriott. It might not be working. So print it before you come and get in your plane or car, whatever it might be. Write your student's name on there, the cell phone number and the room number, and you should be good to go.
There's many questions about maps. Some people, this is their first time on campus. If so, we're so excited for you to be on campus. First, you should have a map in the email that has your parking placard. So there are a few maps that will help orient you and let you see which entrance you arrive to campus to get to your residence hall. But shout out to Yana Mitsos, who also is creating communications for the day of, and there will be signs all over campus, especially near Brody, that have QR codes to different maps to help orient you for the day, so that you can better understand resources on East Campus and what West Campus is and all of that.
Awesome. Let's see. General questions.
There's some, I got one. There's some questions about Uber. We get this every year. Yeah, of course, some people are arriving in Ubers. That's okay. Print out your parking pass. Give it to your Uber driver. It might take a little longer than an average Uber drop-off, so you might just prep them. But again, those lines are constantly moving, and we're trying to get people out as quick as possible. But it's okay if it's your Uber driver. They'll probably find it the most memorable drive, maybe in their top 5 of their career.
Awesome. Grace, did you answer the questions about parking for student cars just a second ago? I
Yes,
apologize.
we did.
Cool.
Yeah.
If you have the last move-in window, what do you recommend we do to prepare best for our short last window? So great question. Totally fine. What I would do, the beauty of that last move-in window is actually you get kind of a little bit more time for like a breakfast together, a little bit more time for a brunch in a local restaurant, a little bit of time to go run some errands prior to, so that everything is in your car prior to going through the move-in window. So you can knock out some of the chores in advance that other people do. If you need to go to immunizations, you can go to immunizations in the morning. If you want to look around campus, you're more than welcome to. You can be on campus all you want to. You just won't have access to your residence hall. Your car won't be able to get on East, and you won't be able to get into Brody Gym. But otherwise, you can certainly explore. My piece of advice, I can't emphasize this enough, is that every year we see students go home for fall break with just bags of stuff that they didn't touch. And so a lot of things that you purchase in advance because you thought your room was going to look one way doesn't quite fit. In the day and age of overnight delivery and Prime, there's a world where I can imagine you getting stuff pretty quickly to resolve that issue. Yeah, so that's my recommendation for the folks in the last window. Cool. Let's see.
A follow-up about student parking. So again, if you have a student parking pass for the year, there's a lot that you can park in. If that's the vehicle, if your student vehicle is the vehicle that has all your belongings you want unloaded into your residence hall, still make sure that you arrive to campus during your window. You can roll up, have support unloading your vehicle. And then the only difference for you is that you then move your car to the student lot. If it were a family car without that parking pass for the year, that car needs to go immediately to Science Drive. And again, we will have these in maps. We know it's a lot of information if you haven't been on campus, if you haven't seen move-in day, but there are buses going in all directions. So there's going to be a bus going from East Campus to Science Drive. There'll be a bus going from East to West. So we'll have all of that covered. Yep.
Awesome. I see a lot of questions about eating and dining and everything. Just to kind of go through those things again. You are throughout the day, the main things that will be open on East Campus are the Marketplace, which is our East Campus dining hall, and Trinity Cafe, which is just below it, and a coffee shop. Those will be open essentially from 8 a.m. till mid-afternoon. And so you're more than welcome to eat lunch there. That is paid for. We're going to provide some quick, easy grab and go types of things. East Campus is also directly adjacent to 9th Street. And if you've got the time, go explore 9th Street. There's some great restaurants that are there. So you can easily walk off campus that are quick and easy. You might just want to catch your breath for a second and kind of get out of all of the hustle and bustle. That's a great place to go. It is a 10-minute walk tops from East Campus, probably a little bit quicker. There's a Whole Foods market directly across the street too, so it can cater to pretty much all type of dietary needs. So I'd encourage you to do that throughout the day. The dinner on the quad is available again from 4 to around 6:30 or so. That's going to be the time that we stop serving because the family farewell event begins at 7 p.m. That is that caters to, again, every dietary restriction imaginable. That's on Duke. That is not something that you have to worry about paying for. We provide all of that. There will also be, I don't believe, nothing in the West Campus Union will be open that evening, with the exception of the Devil's Craft House may be open for a short window of time. So you'll want to eat there. And we'll make sure that you are well fed throughout the day and that you have plenty of options.
Related, someone asked if we arrive early, can we go straight to Science Drive Garage and walk around a little bit? Absolutely. Go for it. No problem with that. The Science Drive Garage is open for the day. You can even take the bus to East and just be in the glory of all the excitement and buzz to get really excited for your move-in window. Ben, can I ask you a question? Because you're always the expert on this one. Sometimes families are trying to figure out how to get to the front of the line. Do we need to get there early? Like, how early can you arrive to get in your queue for your arrival window?
Yeah, families typically begin to line up around 15 minutes in advance. That's pretty common for folks to do that. I will say that what will happen is if you wind up getting there too early and the entrance that you are using is being used prior and you get stuck in the line, the traffic guards are going to tell you keep driving because they haven't gotten everyone through to make sure that the prior residence hall is through. So if you get there a little bit early, you may have to do some loops around East Campus or do some loops around the neighborhoods behind East Campus. But I'd recommend about 15 minutes in advance. When we unload these cars, we coach our students to compete about how fast they can unload these cars. So you will see people out there hustling as hard as they possibly can to make sure that your stuff is upstairs as quickly as humanly possible. And we do really truly do try to move this as quick as possible because we know that that time with your student is valuable and we want you to be stress-free that day.
Here's a question about mail early. Unfortunately, our move-in day mail process is only going to be available for move-in day. So it's not an option to get the mail earlier than the 16th. I know for a while we also had some students asking questions in the chat and families about there are some reasons that students have an early arrival approval. They would have that written and you would have communications about that already. You'll get another message this week from our housing assignments team with your final confirmation and arrival details. For the 16th, we still want you involved in the activity. So clearly you don't need to move in on the 16th, but if you are approved for early arrival, we still ask that you go to Brody and then continue with the rest of the day. All that programming is available for you. If your family member has already left, no worries, still come to the family farewell. It's for everyone, right? It's for families, it's for students. You won't be the only student that doesn't have a family member there. And same with dinner. So the rest of the day is all for you. And then someone also asked about what happens next, right? Remember, you're going to get some sleep. We want you to get some sleep. And the next morning, orientation does begin. It is a full week. But you'll also be able to take a moment, a breather. Part of orientation is helping you explore campus in Durham. So I know someone said, like, are we going to be able to explore? I promise orientation is about exploring the campus in the community here. So we're excited that you're excited.
Awesome. I see some questions about stuff to bring, and a lot of it's about kind of personal documentation and things like that. I see some questions about passports and social security cards, things like that. That's going to be your choice. I'm gonna leave it to you on that. Obviously for international students who are traveling here, they'll travel with passports. For domestic students who are here, it's not necessary for you to have a passport in the least bit, and that's going to be totally your choice. But I will say that it will be safe if you protect it and make sure it's well. We don't have issues. We're a smaller university. We've got a great security system. People are not in places that they shouldn't be. And so while we cannot guarantee that everything is safe, that you bring things at your own risk, we do think that a lot of students will probably have passports because some of our students travel during fall break or over winter break. But you also have the ability to mail that type of thing to your student in kind of a protective mail status, if that be the case. So that's totally going to be your choice. I do not believe that any of the residence halls have safes, and so just be mindful of that. That's not something that we provide for students to protect against all things, but the room can be locked at any given point.
I will add, right, our office employs students throughout the year. And so sometimes we see if you're a student that's looking for a campus job, sometimes you have to show your documentation that could be a passport for the hiring process. But again, that's a conversation for you and your family or your comfort. Sometimes you can get it on your fall break trip home if you want to pick up your identification items then. But again, in that conversation, you're going to need some form of ID to pick up your mail. And then if you're picking up a physical Duke card that can be used for voter ID, you will need, again, an ID, a government issued ID in order to pick up that card, just because of state laws.
Yeah, clarity. My thinking was people would have driver's license, but that's not the case for everybody. All right. People allowed to come, parents, siblings, families. Yeah, sure. 100%. Like we have families who bring grandma, grandpa, little sibling, little cousin. That's totally fine. It is a special celebratory day. We're celebrating right alongside you. We love having your student here. We're thrilled to welcome them. And just to let you know, you're a part of that, the Duke family too. And so we want you to celebrate alongside the family. So bring them all. And certainly they'll be our guest on that day. What else do you see, Grace?
Man, I'm working on it.
So I'm
If
seeing,
you-
I'm seeing a quick, sorry, I'm seeing
No,
a
please.
rain. Seeing a question about rain. How dare someone ask about rain? We do not believe in such things. And so we've got a rain plan for things. I mean, really, if it's a move-in day, we can't delay the rain question. We're going to move your child's stuff in as quickly as possible. We've got rain plans, and we'll communicate that rain plan to you all via email, day before. Our team begins to meet next week early on. There's an emergency management team that has its first meeting on Monday. It'll meet again on Thursday, Friday, and then we'll touch base if necessary on Saturday morning. We stay constantly on top of the weather, and then we'll certainly inform you if there are any changes. But we don't believe in rain. So, go ahead, Grace.
There's someone asking about, can we bring more than one car? We are trying to get 1,700 people and almost 1,700 cars onto East Campus during a 6-hour block. In order to accomplish that, we ask you to bring one car onto campus at a time. If you have multiple cars, we would ask you to stage one at Science Drive. Sometimes people are sort of shuttling a trip during their window, but again, in order for everyone to get in, we are asking that you just bring one car onto East Campus at a time for your student.
Mm-hmm.
We are nearing time, Ben. I can't believe it's almost 6.
Yeah. We've gotten through a lot of stuff. I'm just making sure there's nothing burning that hasn't been touched. A lot of it has been repeated. So I'll encourage you, if you do have one of these questions and we haven't answered it, I encourage you to go back through and listen to the webinar and hear from us. We're here to answer questions along the way. A lot of this information has been given. This is really a recap of a lot of stuff, but we did a little bit of a deeper dive into the logistics of move-in day. So I'm going to invite all of our folks from NSFP to come back on. And just to close this out, so Yana and Cody and Dalton and Justin, if you guys will come back on, and I'm going to go kind of around the horn here and invite us to give one, if you have one piece of advice to either students or families to prepare for move-in day, what is that piece of advice? And the order we're going to go is Cody, Dalton, Justin, Iana, Grace, and then I'll wrap us up. Cool.
Thank you, Ben. Put me on the spot. One piece of advice I would give to the students particularly is just take it all in. It's a day of emotions. I'm sorry, Justin. It's a day of high emotions, happy, sad, all of the things. So take it all in, enjoy it, and just have an amazing time as you're moving on to Duke's campus.
I missed your. Am I the next one? Great. I'm so sorry, Ben. I thought Deanna was going. I think for me, you mentioned in your presentation, but labeling your boxes. If you think about it, there are 1,700 students moving in over the course of 6 hours. Everybody's bringing at least one box, but definitely some more belongings. So it just is, it's almost inevitable that something is going to end up in the wrong stack somewhere. And so if you have all your things labeled with room number and name, it makes it so much easier for us to track it down afterwards. So that would be my recommendation, is label all of your boxes before you get to campus.
That is so good, Dalton. And I swear, y'all, I'm not trying to copy Cody, but my recommendation is, again, to soak it all in. There is no day like your first year move-in day. Like when you become an upperclassman, it's cute. You move into your little sophomore, little nice little dorm. That's all nice, but there's nothing like the emotions and everything that happens on that first year move-in. So please soak it all in. Also, students, when you get to the family farewell, if you feel those emotions, just let them out. Let them out. Family, let them out. It's just gonna be beautiful, okay?
All right. For mine, I think it's just be kind to yourself. It's going to be a long day. Like my colleague said, emotions are high. There is some stress involved in moving. So, be kind to others, be kind to yourself. And I think that will really help, your experience and others' experiences go as smoothly as possible.
These are so great, and everyone has taken some portion of what I was gonna say. Let's go back to basics. Make sure you eat, right? It is a long day, it's a hot day. That dinner is so great. I mean, it's good food and it's a hallmark. It's showing off what Duke Dining can do, but it's also just a really fun event. You're gonna have more time to continue to settle in, and I know there's something special about doing it with your family and wanting to get all set up. But part of it is we need to live in a space to really know how we're going to use our room. Make time to make sure you come over to Wes in time to eat. It's fun, it's celebratory. There's thousands of people on the quad. And it's good food to make sure that you are satiated for the rest of the day.
That's great. I mean, these are all great pieces of advice. There's some practical things I think they're very helpful. Labeling your boxes, making sure that you're staying on top of that piece. Packing as little. Again, my piece of advice for the practical component is packing as little as possible, because you can order things and you can fill things in. You never know what you're going to want. It's very easy to order and bring in. It's very difficult to unload. I mean, and to get rid of and to shed some things. So easier to do that than go the opposite direction. But the one piece that I would say is you take pictures. These are special moments, and again, it's just kind of ways of capturing them. Be present in the moment. You don't have to be recording every single individual thing. Be present to it, but it is such an exciting time. So parents, give your kid a squeeze. Make sure you give them a big hug. Students, make sure you say thank you to your parents and to your family members for like everything that they've done for you. It's just such a special day. It's my favorite day of the year. I think everybody that works in this office, everybody that's behind the scenes, both Kristen, MJ, who work in housing assignments, love move-in day because it is why we do this work. It's Duke at its best. And so we want you to come. We want you to love it. We want you to enjoy it. And you got a whole campus community that's here to support you. So we're going to wrap things up. I want to thank everybody again for being here. Go back and read through your communications. Make sure you kind of dot all your I's, cross all your T's. We will get this webinar posted in probably the next 48 to 72 hours so that you have access to it and you can review it if necessary. But we had one final thing. We had 229 questions behind the scenes that were answered. So our team was furiously typing away. We apologize if we didn't get to it directly, but we hope you'll take the time to do that research and watch this video again. Thanks for being here, and we will see you next Saturday on August 16th. Happy packing, happy travels, and we'll see you soon. Welcome to Duke.